What's going on with Jake Paul, Conor McGregor? Is that fight happening or what?
Probably not. Not yesterday and said, well, now that you love me. Well, I never said I love you. But, well, he shouldn't even be fighting Conor McGregor. These guys are fucking huge. He's huge. His brother's huge. I mean, what's your brother, 6'1"?
Yeah.
210?
Yeah.
Conor McGregor's 145, 155 pounds.
Oh, he fights that low. I thought he fights like one.
What's going on with Jake Paul Conor McGregor? Is that fight happening, or what? Probably not. No, Dana White has officially had its celebrity boxing there's a market for these kind of fights. He can't stand it, won't entertain it, and honestly he's probably losing sleep over it. And now the idea of Jake Paul stepping into the ring with Conor McGregor, that's a level of absurdity Dana refuses to let slide. He came out yesterday and said, well, now that you love me, well, I never said I love you. Let's be real, Jake Paul, the self-proclaimed YouTuber turned fighter, isn't even in the same universe as Conor. How Jake convinces himself he's a legitimate competitor to a UFC legend is a mystery, but hey, delusion is free. Well, he shouldn't even be fighting Conor McGregor. These guys are huge. He's huge. His brother's huge. I mean, what with your brother 61, yeah, 210. Conor McGregor's 145, 155 pounds. He fights that low. I thought he fights like once. Dana is not just saying no to this fight. He's predicting the disaster it would be. Jake prancing around like he's redefining boxing is really just making a mockery of the sport. For Dana, this isn't just a mismatch, it's a betrayal of every boxing fan who wants to see real talent, not a TikTok sideshow. And honestly, he's not wrong. I'm looking for the ABS absolute best in the world. These guys who have trained their whole life, they fight in these smaller shows, and then they make it to the UFC, and we've put the best against the best. It's just not we do. There's a market for what these guys do, and there's money to be made in it. You know, Conor McGregor finally got the pink slip. Looks like Dana White has had enough of everyone's favorite Irish loudmouth dodging Jake Paul. Yeah, you heard that right. Dana freaking White apparently drew the line at Jake Paul. And why? Because Conor, the UFC's golden boy, didn't want to sully his precious legacy by stepping into the circus that Jake Paul has turned combat sports into. Conor McGregor is one of the best on the planet. He's one of the greatest fighters on earth right now, and he shouldn't be fighting kids that have YouTube videos. Okay, the circus is already here, and Conor's refusal to join the freak show is apparently a deal breaker. When there's the Floyd Conor fight, you know, the fans wanted to see it, everybody wanted to see it. That fight took on a life of its own. Floyd and I got together and figured it out, and it made sense, and we did it. So let's start with Jake Paul, the internet troll turned millionaire boxer who somehow convinced people he's a legitimate fighter. This guy's been out here pulling in 1.2 million pay-per-view buys like it's nothing, and raking in $40 million a year. While the purists clutch their pearls, love him or hate him, Jake knows how to sell a fight, even if it's all smoke and mirrors. But the idea of him stepping into a ring with Conor McGregor, that's where Dana White decides to plant his flag. Now listen, he's a young kid out there trying to make some money, and he's made it clear there's no way he's letting Jake Paul taint the UFC's legacy. Irony much, because let's be honest, the UFC has hosted some absolute dumpster fires of fights before. Now Conor McGregor, the man, the myth, the walking whiskey advertisement. He's one of the richest fighters in the game, sitting pretty on $600 million in career earnings. But let's not pretend that money hasn't been his main motivator for a while now. He's got a fight lined up with Dustin Poirier on Fight Island. And sure, he looks great on Instagram, ripped, jacked, ready to reclaim his throne. But avoiding Jake Paul, that's not just about weight classes or protecting a legacy. It's about Conor knowing exactly how ridiculous it would look to the world if he even entertained the idea. Do you think he could cut to you think he could make 71? Yeah, I don't think so. Exactly, I don't think so. That's it. Such a stretch, and it's a stretch for Conor to fight at 70. You know what I mean? He fought in at 70. That isn't his weight class, not even close. Yeah, Dana White hates celebrity fights, like really hate them. He's called them out for being disrespectful to the sport, for undermining the blood, sweat and years of training that real fighters put in, and yet he's mad at Conor for not jumping into that exact mess. Make it make sense, Dana, because while you're over here preaching about preserving the UFC's integrity, Jake Paul's laughing all the way to the bank, cashing checks bigger than most UFC fighters will ever see in their lives. On the percentage scale from 0 to 100, what are the chances that Jake Paul ever fights Conor McGregor? 0. Yeah, happen. And don't even get me started on the weight class excuse. Conor's prime fighting weight is 155. That's not a fight, it's a slaughter waiting to happen. Why he shouldn't even be fighting Conor McGregor. These guys are Huge, he's huge, his brother's huge, I mean what's your brother 61 yeah 210 Conor McGregor's 145 155 pounds oh he fights that low I thought he fights like but hey when has logic ever stopped Dana from trying to make a quick buck the man sees dollar signs and suddenly physics doesn't exist if he could he'd probably have Francis Ngannou fighting a kangaroo if it meant breaking a pay-per-view record what this really comes down to is Dana's frustration with the whole celebrity boxing trend there's a market for these kind of fights it's not just Jake Paul though Jake is definitely the poster child for everything Dana despises it's the fact that these fights are pulling attention and money away from the UFC and while Dana is busy shouting about preserving the sport Jake and his brother Logan are turning combat sports into a WWE storyline and people are eating it up it just there's weight classes for a reason yeah and what if Jake can cut to 145 he just cuts half of his body off like how do you do that Jake brought the type of guy to cut off a limb to make a weight class you see the UFC isn't just another fight promotion it's a dynasty Dana's kingdom is built on grit dedication and the blood of fighters who've climbed their way to the top viral TikToks and YouTube stunts don't cut it here that's why he's dead set on keeping the UFC's reputation intact far from the neon glow of Jake Paul's Instagram antics let's break it down celebrity fights aren't new but they've recently gone full throttle into ridiculous territory look at Floyd Mayweather vs Logan Paul Logan lost to KSI for crying out loud but somehow waltzed into a fight with Floyd one of the greatest boxers of all time sure it raked in millions of views but to Dana it was the combat sports version of fast food flashy unhealthy and leaves you questioning your life choices and then there's CM Punk the WWE star who thought he could moonwalk into the UFC octagon he got wrecked his humiliating stint highlighted exactly why Dana draws the line at celebrity fights compare that disaster to Brock Lesnar who didn't just join the UFC but became a heavyweight champ why years of real training not clout chasing Floyd fought everybody that he was supposed to Floyd's looked at Floyd's in this position right now where he can do things like this because he fought everybody you know this kid came up through the Olympics, went pro fought everybody that he was supposed to fight fought everybody you know that he needed a fight to get to where he is now so when I see these guys you know here's the thing Dana's frustration isn't just personal it's business the UFC pulls in $1 billion a year that's not pocket change and Dana knows what keeps those numbers climbing credibility if he lets the octagon turn into a playground for influencers the UFC risks losing its soul and let's not forget the fans they're not here for YouTuber slap fests they're here to watch elite athletes go to war but Dana's disdain for celebrity fights doesn't mean he doesn't admire legends like Mike Tyson or Floyd Mayweather Tyson even in his 50s remains a god in combat sports Mike goes out and wants to fight in his 50s everybody bought it everybody's going to buy it everybody wants to see Tyson do well everybody loves and wants to support Tyson his exhibition fight with Jake Paul reportedly pulled $20 million in pay-per-view revenue that's not chump change Dana respects Tyson for being a living legend who's earned the right to cash in without tarnishing his legacy Floyd same deal the man fought everyone who mattered during his career cementing his play that's not what I do but I get it there's a lot of money in it there's a market for those kind of fights it's not what I do what Dana does is stick to the UFC's core values even as the sport world gets more chaotic take the upcoming Fight Island series for example 3 fights in 1 week possibly with live fans. It's a massive undertaking it's also Dana's way of flexing the UFC's dominance in a world increasingly overrun by social media stars looking for a quick payday if Fight Island succeeds it'll be another notch in the UFC's belt proving it's still the gold standard but then Conor McGregor legacy is on a razor's edge and Dana knows it Conor could fight Jake Paul and make a fortune but at what cost his reputation his dignity Dana is not letting that happen. Under the UFC banner even if it means clashing with his biggest star Conor seems focused on his fight with Dustin Poirier training hard to reclaim his throne for now he's steering clear of the Jake Paul circus but let's not pretend the possibility is off the table money talks and a fight like that would scream dollar signs ultimately Dana's so-called firing of Conor McGregor is just another chapter in his crusade against celebrity boxing it's his way of drawing a line in the sand saying the UFC won't stoop to gimmicks sure the fight world is evolving blurring the